Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shadowfang Keep in Silverpine Forest. So, obviously, this is not the vanilla version. This is the version that was updated in Cataclysm, and it's one of the early ones that you can do. You can actually access this when you reach level 17. I like this dungeon. I like its layout. I like its boss battles. Also, we're going to be doing this twice, because this is one of those dungeons that is actually different based on what faction you're playing. This dungeon actually has two different versions. One if you're going through as Alliance, and another if you're going through as Horde. So I decided I'll just show you both. We're going to do it one after the other. I decided let's just go ahead and do Alliance first. So I'm here in my Worgen Death Knight. I could have done one of my other high-level Alliance characters. However, the thing is, this dungeon is actually kind of relevant for both the Worgens and the Forsaken. Looming over Pirewood Village from the southern bluffs of Silverpine Forest, Shadowfang Keep casts a shadow as dark as its legacy. Sinister forces occupy these ruins, formerly the dwelling of the mad Archmage Arugel's Worgen. The restless shade of Baron Silverlane lingers, while Lord Godfrey and his cabal of erstwhile Gilnean noblemen plot against their enemies, both living and undead. So, yeah. Lords and barons, yeah. Number of noblemen here, because, well, if you... So, this is very important if you... And this is why they updated this, because this very much has to do with what happens in the starter zone of the Worgen, because Cataclysm was when you could first start playing as a Worgen. Godfrey was one of those characters that you got to meet and interact with in that starting zone, and he's... Puh slash spit. That's my summary of Godfrey. Man. Yeah. Oh, actually, hold on. Oh, wait, no, it just scrolled back. I was like, oh, is there actually... for a moment, I thought there was extra text if I switched it to heroic. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't have a Forsaken to do this on, but it doesn't really matter. The idea is that you go through this if you're Alliance with the Worgen, and you go through with the Forsaken, because, well, there's different storylines based on whether or not you're doing this with Alliance or Horde. If you're Alliance, or, you know, it has to do with, you know, basically the vitriol hatred that Godfrey had towards the Worgen in general, thinking that they were just less than people. Not even human anymore. You know, they were just beasts, mongrels. And then, you know, well, Godfrey ended up becoming an undead. Yeah, later on. He's not an undead in the starter zone, but he does become one later, which is, yeah. Anyways, so I basically wanted to show you the story for both factions. So, welcome to Shadowfang Keep, Alliance version. See here, when you enter as Alliance, there's a lot of Worgen here. This is pack leader Ivar Bloodfang.
Get gabbing or get going.
I could smell Godfrey and his companions a mile away from here. They did an exceedingly poor job covering their tracks in flight. It will be the mistake that puts the final nail in their coffins. One of them is very close. And though the scent has changed slightly in On Death, I'm fairly certain it's Ashbury's. Go inside and tear him to pieces. We'll ensure the Forsaken do not intervene with our task.
We are bound by a common enemy.
So yeah. I'll read up on Ashbury in just a moment. Crowley's a disgrace to our kind. For giving in to the Forsaken, my pack will show them the true face of the Worgen and the relentless fury that comes with our presence. Yeah. Consider me one of those who is disappointed that basically Crowley has been a non-thing since the starter zone in Cataclysm. And I'm going to clarify, no, not Mr. Crowley. No, not that. Oh, gosh, I can't remember his first name. Lord Crowley. Mr. Crowley. Gosh, I can't remember his first name. But, I don't mean Lorna, because Lorna Crowley has been an active participant in recent times. You interact with her in Stormheim if you're playing as Alliance, because she's actually one of the military commanders amongst the Alliance now, these days. I believe she actually is either ranked commander or even general. But anyways, I think he should come back. So this is a haunted stable hand. Go away, you shouldn't be here. From what I understand, there's some, carryover from the vanilla version of this dungeon. I think. You can see there are some frantic enemies here. Kind of leftovers. Yeah. Just kind of various different corpse eaters and such. So I've done this dungeon regularly with a group numerous times, because when you get to level 17 you can access it, and I really enjoy it, honestly. I've gone through it as multiple roles, and that's going to play into what I'm about to talk about with this first boss. Because, yeah, this first boss has a mechanic that is a little annoying to deal with. Especially if you're a healer. A rabid mastiff growls. Oh, so I think he has dialogue if you enter here as Horde, but not if you enter as Alliance, I guess. This is Baron Ashbury, slain by Worgen and raised into undeath by the Forsaken. The traitor, Baron Ashbury, toys with his foes, keeping them alive so he can inflict maximum pain and suffering. So there's a couple mechanics here. This is what I was referring to. He throws every player into the air. He's got to asphyxiate. Yeah, he has this ability. Well, this ability that I have, which is lifts the enemies off the ground, crushing their throats with dark energy and stunning them for 5 seconds. That's my version of asphyxiate. It's a Death Knight. His version is throws every player into the air, stunning them and dealing enough shadow damage over 6 seconds to bring the player's health to 1. I'm trying to convince Godfrey to just kill all of you to end your misery, but he keeps telling me no. More pain and suffering for the lot of you, then. Then he's got Stay of Execution. After Ashbury finishes casting Asphyxiate, he immediately casts Stay of Execution. This spell heals all players to 50% of their maximum health. In Heroic difficulty, instead of healing players at the end of the cast, he channels Stays of Execution until interrupted. Players are healed every second for 10% of their maximum health, but Ashbury is also healed for 5% of his maximum health. There's a part of me that wants to actually show this off to you, but there's a part of me that also doesn't. So let's see. Tally-ho, the hunt begins. Let me see if I can pull this off, because I do have that talent that prevents me from dying. You'll see it here in just a moment. This is just too easy. I actually got the achievement. Makes sense, I guess. Which is defeat him without letting him heal on Heroic difficulty. Now, obviously I can do that relatively easily here as a 114 character, but at level, a little more difficult in that regard. Pathetic. Keep moving forward. My men will dispense of this sorry bag of bones. Bones? Control yourselves. We're here for Godfrey's head above all else. Relish in the spoils of war later. We have to push forward if we're to put an end to him. Follow me. I'll open the courtyard so that you can spearhead our assault.
I got a bad feeling.
What a pathetic look. Godfrey is going to have to try harder than this if he wants to defeat us.
What's What's your story?
The scent of freshly spilled traitor blood fills my nostrils, and it is absolutely invigorating. However, my bloodlust will not be sated until Godfrey lies on the floor as a lifeless heap. He thinks that an army of mindless corpses can stop the wrath of the Bloodfang. We'll gnaw on their bones for years to come after our work is done. We've hit an unexpected snag in our assault on the keep. It seems that the servants that tended to Baron Silverlane and Commander Springvale in life do so now in death as well. And Godfrey has placed them directly between us and him. Not to worry, we won't let them be anything more than a minor inconvenience. Eliminate Silverlane and Springvale both, and not only will their guards no longer have masters to direct them, it will place us that much closer to our final goal.
Let the light of the new moon guide you.
So yeah, this courtyard is filled with mindless horrors. And haunted servitors and ghouls and... yeah, lots of forms of undead. Now, I think there's a quest here for paladins, but I'll actually show that on my Horde character, if it's possible. Now, it's also worth noting, this is actually one of those places that you get sent to if you have a low-level character, and they're like, hey, we have a special weapon that we can make just for you based on your class, but we're going to need some materials. We need you to go to Shadowfang Keep and get this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Hold on. Let me take care of this trash. Look, I'm building rep, okay? I'm trying to get exalted with Gilneas on this character. It's important. You actually can go this way, but it's not the correct way. Not anymore. Not anymore. Yeah, we'll turn around. Like, technically you can go that way, but you're not supposed to, because you're supposed to go here to face another boss. So, I mean, I guess you could, but it's the longer way around. But anyways, what I'm referring to is that when you come here, based on what you're getting, you usually have to click on these to collect like bars of silver or something like that, or piles of wood, because it has to do with what you need to collect for the weapon. Obviously, I don't have to do that here. I'm talking about like when you reach like, I don't know, level 20, 10, 15, something like that with your class. You can usually find it like right away. Like when I made my Maghar Orc and he was started off in Orgrimmar, it was just right there. Lots of ghosts here. Lots of different, spirit undead basically here. This is Baron Silverlane. Baron Silverlane was the master of the keep before it fell to Arugel's Worgen. Now his cursed spirit calls upon the very wolf beast that slaughtered him to punish further trespassers into his home. And he will actually summon Worgen spirits. Summons a Worgen spirit at 90%, 60%, and 30% health. Well, probably just, yeah. Leave this accursed place at once! Gosh, have I ever said how much I actually have grown to love playing Blood Death Knight? The Bloodfang came for you, Worgen hunters. And there's Razorclaw the Butcher.
Any friend agree me?
Now, there's really nothing much here, story-wise, but there will be when we play our Horde character. So, in order to continue, we have to go... There's down that hall. I like how he's directing me down the other hall. Even though down this way, there's actually a bunch more extra trash. And I'm going to go ahead and do that because I have rep to grind. Oh, if you think this is... No, I'm exaggerating. No, I'm actually doing this with Stratholme. To grind to Exalted. I know it gives me extremely minimal rep, but here's the thing. I'm also trying to get Death Chargers, Rivendare's Death Charger. So I figure, look, if I'm going to be going through Stratholme over and over, trying to farm Rivendare's Death Charger and hoping it drops, I may as well get some rep out of it. Right? I may as well get something out of it. Tormented officer. I can't tell if these are soldiers or paladins. And yes, I know I'm using this. I've been going back and forth between using this, Shadowmourne, and the Scythe of the Unmaker. But I decided to go with this while using Blood because, well, the lore behind this weapon is amazing. So, if you want to know what I'm talking about, I have a whole video where I read the lore on the weapons you get in Legion as a Death Knight. So, feel free to check that out. So this is Commander Springvale. A loyal soldier, the ghost of Commander Springvale haunts the council room using unholy strikes to avenge his lord, Baron Silverlane. This is a fun fight. I will note that I don't think I've ever actually done this dungeon legit on heroic. Usually when I come through here, it's just the normal one that you can queue up for. But sent to 100. Oh, interesting. Okay. To the ground. Defeat Springvale without allowing him to receive unholy empowerment on heroic difficulty. I'm gonna get all the achievements. There you go. Springvale's cloak. Alright, where is Ivar? Come on, Ivar, where are you? Oh wait, no, that's right, he's outside. I sometimes get mixed up because I've gone through here both as Horde and Alliance numerous times while working on low-level characters, including allied races, that usually the Horde guy will be here, and I'll be standing here as Alliance waiting, and I'm like, oh wait, that's right, no, the Alliance guy is over here. Silly. Yeah, here he is. I've picked up Walden's foul scent. Fill the air with his blood.
Ain't you a chipper-looking?
We're nearly there. The time is now to charge further ahead and take out Walden. It appears that Lord Walden has finally taken notice to our presence and has heightened his defenses. It's worthless, really. Nothing will deter our pack. The path ahead to him is rife with powerful Scourge minions, but I trust that you'll be able to clear the path for the rest of us to follow in. Once we kill Walden, it should be a straight shot to his cowardly leader.
Watch your back.
So yeah, Lord Walden. Godfrey's right-hand man, the arrogant Lord Walden, vowed to pay any price, including death, to serve his compatriot. Now among the undead, Walden intends to keep his word, attacking adversaries with ice and venom. You can see there's various different members of the Scourge here. And yeah, they'll drop plagued, you know, well, you can see it. Gas and such. Oh, this is always annoying because the gargoyles. Yep. So I will say, I just noticed, that's the first time I've seen them on both sides. On normal, they're just on one side. But I guess on heroic, they're on both sides. So you can't avoid them. Apparently. Death Knight is great for soloing, whether it be Blood or Unholy. Frost can work too, but it's just fun to just go around just doing some of the AoE damage abilities of either Blood or Unholy. And plus, if you're Unholy, you can have your Ghoul out, and he can basically just, anytime something attacks you, he just, like, attacks anything and just wrecks it. May as well grab the gold while I'm here. So yeah, we're getting close. So there's Walden. This can be an interesting fight. Even here, I find myself beset by fools. So yeah. He does this. Yeah. Yeah, this fight can be kind of annoying to deal with, especially if you are, well, doing what I just did, which is just stand there and take it. He also does that. That frost mixture, which is also kind of, oh. And apparently he also does a mystery toxin, which is apparently a heroic difficulty one. But yeah, I remember having to deal with the frost mixture quite a bit, so we're just gonna... My new life was just beginning.
Your time has finally come, Godfrey! Attack, my brothers! Make him feel the fury of our pack!
So yeah, they jump up in pursuit of him. Gotta wait for him to move forward.
You'd best hurry if you want any of the spoils.
Oi.
It won't be long now before the entire keep is ours, thanks to your valiant efforts. The sweet scent of victory. My men should be tearing Godfrey to pieces, even as we speak. Go up to his domain and collect your share of the spoils. You've earned it. You'd think that he would have been more difficult to defeat.
You wouldn't want to see me when I'm angry.
Who do you think you are, Bruce Banner? But yeah, he's thinking, oh, Godfrey's gonna be an easy kill. No. Godfrey is waiting, and he's not so easy of a kill. Please. You are but creepers, and I am a Death Knight, one of the Lich King's chosen, who likes to flip when he jumps. But yeah, you can see it. There's a Dread Scryer. There's Spitbone Flares.
I don't know why the door is closed, heroes. My pack should have already taken care of Godfrey by now. We will stand idle no longer. The time to act is now. I'll make sure that nothing interferes. Go now, heroes. Kill Godfrey.
Gladly. Drawing from his past as a Gilnean noble and Forsaken agent, the cunning and resourceful Lord Godfrey wields dual pistols and commands relentless flesh-eating ghouls. Pistol barrage. Huh. Cursed bullets. Huh. I find that funny, considering that that's one of Greymane's heroics in Heroes of the Storm. So yeah, he's got some monstrosities here. And you can see the bodies of the pack. The Bloodfang Berserkers. Yeah, they didn't expect these things to be waiting for them.
I need to get closer.
They didn't expect that Godfrey was going to have big monstrosities like this waiting for them. But yeah, Godfrey treats you, if you play as a Worgen in the starter zone, which I will show to you later on, I will show you in my series of the starter zones in WoW. Godfrey is terrible. He is awful, especially to you, especially after you become a Worgen. Ivar's pack failed horribly, so now he sends mercenaries. No matter, your journey ends in agony. I must have parried his attacks to kill him, because that's all I cast was these three. That is hilarious. those because transmogs. So you've noticed how the dialogue is specifically about the pack and such, right? Huh, there's the lever.
What can I do for you?
Did it. At terrible cost, but victory is ours. This keep could serve well as a home for me and my pack, though we tend to prefer more natural habitats. It may be best to leave it as a reminder of Godfrey's betrayal and of the Bloodfang warriors that died here in battle.
That's enough gabbing for me today.
Alright, so let's leave, and then we're going to switch to our Horde character and go through this again as Horde to show you the difference of what it's like. Because you are certainly not going through here with Ivar and the Bloodfangs. Okay, so leave him in Acris. And there we go. Have a drink of water in between. Yes, I am showing off Corrupted Ashbringer. Look, after the questline that we had to do in Legion to get this, I don't mind taking time to show it off. Alright. So, remember what it was like when we entered here as Alliance? Take a look at how it is when we enter Shadowfang as Horde. There's a bunch of Forsaken here. A bunch of the Forsaken. Some troopers, some blight spreaders that look a lot like Professor Putricide, and Deathstalker Commander Belmont.
What is it?
Did you think that a handful of Worgen vermin could stop me? Ha!
This has to do with the questing that you do here in Silverpine. I don't believe there's any questing in Silverpine for Alliance. I could be wrong, but there's a whole quest line. There's a whole story progress, bunch story chapters as Horde. If you go through here as Horde in Silverpine, which plays into this.
Shadowfang Keep was part of the Lordaeron kingdom in life, so it is quite fitting that it should belong to the Forsaken in death. Godfrey and his accomplices are minor obstacles at best, and of course we're all happy to take them out for their treachery against the Dark Lady. Ashbury has positioned himself near the front of the keep, leaving him wide open to attack. Start us out on the right foot, would you?
Remember, patience, discipline.
I don't think any of this is different if you are here as Alliance or Horde. I think the stuff here is basically exactly the same. Yeah, pretty much. So, I've already read the stuff, so I won't have to again. But some of the dialogue is obviously going to be different. I'm so used to going through here as Prot, these dungeons as Prot, because Prot has Consecration, whereas Ret pretty much just has Divine Storm, and that's
You need
it.
to target something first.
I like my AoE damage, what? Especially when you have big mobs like this, you just want to, AoE damage all of them at once.
It's too far away. I need a target.
So I've already shown off the asphyxiate here, so I won't really have to do that here. I don't really have, I tried my best to show off the different things here. I'm just curious about the dialogue. I don't think it's different at all here compared to some of the others. You're more skilled in combat than I thought. Very well then. Let's get the courtyard door open so that we can continue our mission. This lock should be easy enough to pick. There we go.
Yes.
Very well done. They've gotten a hold of powerful allies, but clearly nothing but a paladin champion of the Banshee Queen can't handle. The best part about this plague... Apparently I'm getting rep with Undercity for this. The best part about this plague is that even when it visually fades away, the remaining residue is still quite potent. However, we still have an enormous area to cover before we are done, with plenty of Godfrey's defenses in the way. It appears the spirits that served Baron Silverlane and Commander Springvale in life now guard them in death, and Godfrey is using them to deter us. Show them all the iron will of the Forsaken. So, yeah, they're here to use the plague, because of course they are. So the thing you gotta remember, by the way, notice that there's plague here on the bars here, compared to, while we're here as Horde with the Forsaken, because that was not here when we were with the Alliance, because of course it was.
It's too far.
But yeah, it very much has to do with the change in direction, and this had to do with the Cataclysm changes as well in Tirisfal. A Shadow Charger. Now, I believe there was some kind of quest here. In fact, there's a number of horses here. Steeds. These are apparently elites. I'm very curious. If I kill these things, does something happen? Because I heard there was some kind of paladin quest here. Unless that was something that used to be part of the vanilla version. So, anyways. Apparently I don't have a tabard on this character. Oh, no, I do. I just have the Lightbringer one that I got from ICC. Because I was like, yeah!
I need to get closer.
But yeah, it has to do definitely with the direction. So, one of the big differences between the vanilla version of Tirisfal, if you play as an undead, in vanilla compared to what it's like now in Cataclysm, is that in vanilla, and I tested this out in WoW Classic, it was very focused on we have to prepare because we are getting ready for the Scourge. Because remember, the Forsaken had one goal, because Sylvanas was leading them, and that is to get to Northrend, defeat the Scourge, and kill Arthas. That was their goal. That was their one focus. Preparation to face the Scourge and Arthas. That's all they cared about. Well, as of the end of Wrath, and by the time we got to Cataclysm, that was no longer a thing. So what now? Well, remember, after we defeat Arthas in ICC, at least what Sylvanas perceived as Arthas, when it was actually the Death Knight Arthas, like lynching, but anyways, she kills herself. She commits suicide because I accomplished my goal and there's nothing else. All right, I'll just die. Because, of course, I will go back to the light, as I deservedly should go to. What? I'm in the darkness? I have the same fate as Arthas? That's unacceptable. And then one of the Valkyr saved her, they made a pact with her, and... well, basically, from this point on, the Forsaken have a different direction they're going, because now Sylvanas has a different direction that she's going. And this partly has to do with what happens in the Gilnean Starter Zone. It also has to do with what's going on with Garrosh now becoming the War Chief of the Horde. So I bring that up because of what we're about to see after I defeat this boss. Excellent. Now to plague this area and move on to... Chromash, what are you doing here? This is a covert operation.
Unless I'm mistaken, the War Chief explicitly forbids using the full plague, no matter the circumstance.
My apologies, Chromash, but I assure you there is no problem. We are using an extremely dilute plague. In fact, it really only serves to scare off the Worgen from trying to follow us in here. It's completely harmless.
Then I'm sure you won't mind if I accompany you on your mission. Be warned, Belmont. If I find out that you're lying, you will see the war chief's wrath firsthand.
But of course, we have the Horde's best interests in mind, sir. These heroes were just about to continue on and kill Springvale for us. So that's why. Yeah. The Forsaken and Sylvanas at this time were like, use the plague on everything! Plague everything! Which, well... we see how that turns out in the future, as in other occasions, don't we?
It's too far.
Meanwhile, Garrosh was like, no, you will not use the plague, because he wanted to conquer areas. Believe it or not, during this point in time, they were actually playing up Garrosh that he actually wanted to conquer some of these areas, rather than just simply plague them and destroy them. Believe it or not, he was actually not like Darth Malak during this period of time. At least they were trying to. They were kind of going back and forth on what they wanted to do with Garrosh until they decided, no, we're going to make Garrosh a full-on villain. This explains the Stone Talon Mountain stuff. With Garrosh, I mean. But yeah. I've sent my men forward on the rooftops to secure the area around Lord Walden. Of course, somebody's going to have to take care of the small army between here and there.
That better be good.
Cromush has both a thick skull and a fool's brain, and we'll use that to our advantage. By the time anybody finds out about the plague's true potency, it'll be far too late. Thank you for keeping quiet during his tirade. I promise you won't regret it. Unsurprisingly, we aren't going to listen to Cromush about the plague. However, his brute strength will come in handy for muscling my men through the many foes ahead on the path to Godfrey, the most powerful being his right-hand man, Lord Walden. I'll meet you in Walden's chamber after you finish him off. Then at long last, we can completely take Shadowfang Keep for the Forsaken. You see what I mean about the completely different tone and text and everything that's going on here, based on whether or not you are either Horde or Alliance? This is part of the reason why I actually like going through here when I'm working on other low-level characters, because it's just fun to see the different story stuff that's going on here. Of course, a lot of players don't really, there's a number of players that don't really bother stopping to listen or pay attention to what's going on with the story. They just pick up the quest and keep going. But there are times where I'm with a group and they just kind of stop and they just watch and they're like, oh, like some of them didn't really know what was going on here. And it's easy to understand if you have not made, if you aren't playing a Forsaken and you don't quest through Silver Pine Forest here, where this takes place, because it does kind of explain what is going on in this area. The fact that when you first see that guy, he's like, you thought a handful of Worgen could take care of me?
I need to get closer.
Yes, I'm not so easily killed. Believe it or not, I have heard... So, part of the quest line, for those of you who haven't heard me talk about this in my other video where I showed this off, getting this appearance, part of the quest line to get this appearance for a corrupted Ashbringer is having to do some fishing with extremely small percentages of actually getting it to come up. I've heard some people say that they have fished in that river over like thousands of times, like over 3,000 casts, and they still had not gotten it. I was extremely lucky. I wasn't using Fishing Buddy, which is an add-on you can use to kind of check your fishing attempts, but it felt like it was around 40 casts or so for me. It was just, it all of a sudden showed up, and I was just not expecting it to show up that soon. I honestly thought I was going to have my Paladin at that river for a long time, because I really wanted this appearance, because it's Corrupted Ashbringer. Why would I not want this appearance? This is amazing. I think it's a I personally like this more so than the original Corrupted Ashbringer. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I love things that are more detailed and more modern looking, where you could tell they really put the time and effort to put in the extra detail. Like, look at the extra skulls and such on this. This sword looks amazing. Time has come, soldiers. Godfrey lies just ahead. Have no mercy. We fight for the Horde! And Cromash heads off to face Godfrey. You'd better hurry up if you want in on all the fun. No. The time has come. Godfrey will fall. If all goes well, you'll just be able to walk right into Godfrey's personal domain and take a reward fitting for such an eager young paladin. Godfrey is a cunning foe, though, so it may be wise to head up there quickly just in case you're needed. He will pay for what he did to the Dark Lady.
Victory for Sylvanas.
So yeah, he pissed off and irritated Greymane and the Worgen, and he pissed off and irritated, and angered Sylvanas and the Forsaken. Not very smart. It's one thing to do that to one group and then perhaps go to the other. It's another to do that to people on both factions. And basically get both factions to universally hate you. Now, this is mainly just isolated to the Worgen and the Forsaken, but I guarantee you the rest of the Alliance and the Horde would have seen Godfrey and been like, oh, screw that guy. Puh. Because that's absurd.
I can't. I need a target.
Now, I'm curious about where exactly Cromash is. I think he's inside. There. There's Belmont. I was like, where is he? He needs to open the door for me. Why is the door shut? What in Sylvanas' name is going on here? Cromash, what happened?
The coward killed them. Poisoned me.
You will pay for this, Godfrey. Heroes, you must kill Godfrey. I'll make sure that nothing interferes. Kinda wish he had killed Cromash. Now, Cromash is, yeah, very loyal to Garrosh. So, yeah, another difference. You can see the Forsaken troopers here that are dead compared to the Gilneans, Cromash being up there, yeah. I hope I've made my point clear about the differences between the Horde and the Alliance. Now let's see what he says based on what faction we've got. That bitch Sylvanas sent you too, did she? No matter, your journey ends in agony. A lot of ghouls. Lord Walden's breastplate. Now let's see what Belmont has to say about, perhaps keeping Shadowfang.
Speak quickly.
For a moment there, I thought all was lost. Even when surrounded by the Worgen and Gilneas, I had higher hopes. But you proved me wrong. I will see to it that Sylvanas herself hears of your triumph here today. Don't worry about the mess here. I will gladly see to it myself. Sorry.
Our time will come.
So, I like that he's not even helping Cromash, because apparently Cromash just got poisoned, and he's just sitting here like, oh, I'm just gonna, try to wear this off. I just need a minute. So, that is Shadowfang Keep. A dungeon that was updated for Cataclysm had a heroic difficulty added. You'll notice in a lot of these dungeons don't have a heroic difficulty, mainly because up until, I mean, back in vanilla, it was just one difficulty, just normal. But normal difficulty in vanilla, well, that's you gotta define what normal difficulty in vanilla was, because then later on they added, at least I'm pretty sure they did. Let me double check this. Yeah, they added heroic difficulty for dungeons in Burning Crusade, because of course dungeons in vanilla and Burning Crusade were just not hard enough. You had to make sure that you had an extra difficulty there, right? I've heard tales of how bad or how difficult it was, it was to do some of those heroic dungeons in BC. But we are not even close to being done with dungeons in this, classic vanilla Cataclysm era, anyways. I don't know. Maybe, I'm not sure what we'll do next. Perhaps since we're kind of here, perhaps I'll just kind of show you guys what it was like at the Scarlet Monastery. I mean, I did talk about my Death Knight earlier. There's something else that comes into play later on as a Death Knight that has to do with what happened at the Scarlet Monastery. Stay tuned.